Hey everybody, welcome back to A Taste of Manga. It's been a little while since I did have done one of these. Um, and I'm going to talk about a series that I have been promoting on this channel for a long time. Something that I'm actually currently like 6 or 7 volumes into, but I don't think it gets talked about enough. And that is Happiness by Shuzo Oshimi. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's not the first time that this mangaka has been featured on my channel. The Flowers of Evil, or Aku no Hana, same mangaka. So really, really awesome art. You're gonna get like really interesting. If you know anything about Flowers of Evil, you know it's also one of my favorite manga. Super, super interesting. What I like most about his style is he mixes like pretty like detailed art with like realistic looking characters. Like people like it's not like cheeky or like people look like ridiculous. Like people look pretty much like drawn real people, and it has like really cool detail. Like I love like just even like the cover of this. Like who says you can't judge a book by its cover, right? But I mean even like just in some of like even like the panels and stuff like that. It's just got I don't know. I really love how detailed stuff it like can be. And so if you didn't get it yet from some of this art, this is a vampire manga. But I say that with some hesitation because I don't want people to think that it's like atypical. It is atypical in some ways. Like the vampires kind of behave like vampires. They have like their powers. They feed off of blood and so forth. But this is not like Twilight. Like this is not like this dreamy vampire romance kind of deal. Like being a vampire is not like churched up in these. Like it's not like this like cool like thing. Like it's almost treated like a disease, which I found kind of cool. So basically, it's the story of this guy named Okazaki or Makoto, however, Makoto Okazaki, and he is just this like nerdy teenage dude, kind of typical manga or anime protagonist guy. He's got his glasses. He's kind of nerdy. He just, he's just a nice guy. He just watches the girls that he likes from a distance and doesn't really have courage to do a lot of stuff. He gets bullied a lot. And he's kind of like the punching bag for bullies at his school. He's like they like send him to like get food and shit. I forget what the term for that person is, but I'm gonna say punching bag. And he kind of just rolls with it. One thing I do gotta say about this, it is pretty quick, especially at the start. Like within like the first like 20-25 pages, our MC gets turned into a vampire. All right, by this girl whose name is Nora. Now, sort of spoiler alert to like future volumes. I'm like through like I believe 7 volumes if I'm counting over on my shelf correctly. You don't really know a whole lot about Nora still, and you're not gonna if you just pick up this one volume, you're not gonna really know much either. Aside that she's a vampire and she seems to live this like vagrant, migrating lifestyle. And feeds when she needs to feed. Doesn't have any connection to humanity seemingly at all, and is like pretty rogue. And she pounces on him in the night when he's going to like take out trash or something, and he, which is kind of terrifying, by the way. I'd be kind of scared to take. I think when I first read this volume a while ago, I was kind of scared to take out the trash in the darkness. So she just pounces on him or whatever, and she bites him. And then talks to him and is like, basically gives him the decision. She's like, do you want to die like this, or do you want to be like me? And he doesn't fully understand what's going on. He just says, I don't want to die. So she smiles, jumps off, runs away. And he's just been bitten. And, we've kind of seen this part before. This is where I say it's sort of like atypical. Our guy seems like he's got nothing wrong with him. He goes to the hospital, everything kind of checks out, he just got bites, and goes back to school, back to his normal life, but slowly he starts to change. and it's not like he gets like buff or anything, but he just starts to he's really thirsty all the time. He doesn't really know why. No matter how much water he downs, it doesn't seem to do it, and he keeps smelling this like intoxicating aroma, right? And it turns out that he is smelling blood. And now one thing that I want to point out in this, that it's something that like it's gonna I feel like after I'm done telling this little like story here, it's gonna sound sort of weird, but it's something that I like about Shuzo Oshimi is that he is very good at stretching your comfortability. And what I mean by that is if you've ever read like Aku no Hana, there's a lot of conversations and even actions that characters partake in that are pretty like uncomfortable and are pretty not something you would expect like a main character to be doing, to lower themselves to a situation that you would think that they would find themselves in. But I think it makes them very human. Not the best human, but I think it's a worthy tarnishing, as it were. Like it's so example in this one, this is not really a huge spoiler. It's in this first volume, but this is something that I found creative and I've never really seen in other vampire stuff. So he's a teenage kid. He's in school, right? And he has this. He's smelling. He doesn't know what smells so good, and he's so thirsty. Whatever it is smells really good, right? And he either gets like the bully either knocks him down or he falls over or something like that. And like the school uniform is the girls in the school wear these skirts. And he turns up to see he would normally see just the girls' panties, right? But he can smell, and he's closer to the smell when he's at the ground. He is smelling the girls' period. Now, as disgusting as that probably sounds, I found it still interesting, because that would make sense, right? Like if you're a vampire and you have this higher, if you have like this, you have an attraction to the scent of blood. That is a blood source, so it would make sense. Now they also do this like if he gets close to somebody's like neck or something like that, he can like sort of like feel like their pulse and everything, and typical kind of vampire-esque stuff. But I thought that was sort of like a creative touch here, and I think it's certainly his style. Certainly something that I think you wouldn't see a lot of authors do, but he doesn't really mind crossing that line. He's probably kind of a weird dude, I would imagine, in real life, but in terms of art, I think it's pretty cool. And, it doesn't show anything like too gratuitous in this, but I mean, it's fairly adult, you got some teenage relationships going on. Like there's a guy getting a blow J in volume 2, you'll see that happens. And there's some gore in here. If you like vampire stories, this is pretty good. The remainder of this first volume is basically him just sort of like coming to like he actually can't really come to terms with what he's becoming because he doesn't fully like get what he is yet. While also dealing with sort of like school bully shit. There's a school bully kid named Yuki who's like the group leader of these assholes that are pushing him around and making him buy shit. And one day, Okazaki kind of just gets like tired of his shit and he punches him. Now, he did not have the courage to do so before. And he punches him, gets a bloody nose. More importantly, he wants to drink this kid's blood, right? So he's fighting these urges this whole volume, stuff like that. But he stands up to the bully, and as such, the other bullies no longer respect this Yuki guy. And this Yuki guy basically becomes sort of like in a silent voice. He sort of becomes like the target of all these other boys in the class, and he gets picked on himself. He's got this like love interest who blames our main guy Okazaki here for all of Yuki's problems, even though Yuki was the one kind of being a dick at the beginning. You slowly learn that Yuki isn't that much of an asshole. Like he kind of like redeems himself. He's it's when you're a teenager, you make some dumb decisions, you might hang out with some shitty people, and I think that was the case with him. And as he's slowly getting bullied, he's about to get his ass kicked one night, and then Okazaki comes to his aid and helps defeat the bullies, of course with his crazy new vampire-y powers. And Yuki has much respect for this new Okazaki, and the two sort of become friends by the end of this volume. Yeah, you don't really like learn much about like vampire society in this one. You do later on. Like if I had done this back when like volume 1 was just out, I might have still been like kind of meh on the series, but I do think that this is a series that gets better and better with each volume. I'll be honest, up until like a certain till volume like 6 and 7, they've done this like time jump kind of thing. I won't spoil too much of the events that happen, but the story likes to give a lot of time to multiple people's perspectives, more and more so throughout like the later volumes. And I kind of want more Okazaki. Like I feel like that was something that was really present in this first volume, and the first couple, and they've sort of veered away from that. And I get developing the other characters, but I want more Okazaki. And I don't know how long the series is going to be. I think currently there's like 7 or 8 volumes that have been released in English. I'm sure there's more chapters online. But it's still good enough, I think, for purchase. At least check this out. If nothing, like just for like the art, like I love like he gets these like the scenes where he can like smell the blood. Let me see if I can find it. His vision gets like all like wonky, and like he can't like character details like get like kind of like thrown to the wolves here with like just these like. I don't know. I find it really, really cool. I also really like how Shuzo Oshimi like draws people, as I mentioned. And it's got some interesting gore, especially the later volumes. If you're into like torture-y kind of shit and like some like bloody gore shit with your vampire story, you'll definitely like Happiness. I mean, I don't mean to shit on vampire stories. If you're into that kind of thing that's been told a few times, I think that this is sort of a different tilt to that. So, if you like feeling uncomfortable, if you like gore, if you like blood, if you like vampires, and if you like good manga art, I highly recommend checking out Shuzo Oshimi's Happiness. And I also check out Flowers of Evil, because that's also a very good one by the same author. But yeah, that's it for this. If you've read Happiness and you enjoyed it or are enjoying it currently, let me know down below. If you know of a manga maybe that's similar to this, maybe toss me a recommendation. If you want a surefire recommendation, check out my Patreon. There are tiers where you can recommend me manga and anime to talk about monthly. And you could join Discord and hang out and talk and so forth. Lots of good things. I'd like to thank Killer Sushi Productions for my new channel art. It looks amazing. Please check out her Twitter. And if you guys haven't, please check out the Sugoi Boys on Sundays at 9 p.m. It's a weekly anime, manga-related podcast that I do with 2 awesome YouTubers, J Chip from the J Chip Show and Art of Anime. So big shout out to those guys as well. I need to promote that more, I feel like. But yeah. What'd you think about Happiness? Let me know down below. My name is Miasma, and I'm signing out.